Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Geek Goonz podcast, and we're here.
And we're going to be doing episode 9? Yeah.
Fuck, we're getting old. I don't know how that factors into age. But this episode, we have a guest. And so it's going to be a surprise. We're going to get right into it. We're going to jump right into it in this intro here.
I think we're probably going to skip the part where we call him and everything, but yeah.
Maybe. We might just hop right into it. And if we hop right into it, we'll hop into it now. Reese, I won't say your last name. I'll save your anonymity. But guest number 2, we're here. Old Reese is how we're going to introduce you. How about that? Yeah, because I'm young Reese and old Reese. And yeah, we were just talking about Thor with our first guest. We were talking about, I think Dwight asked him a question. What the fuck did you ask him? You said, how did he feel about Thor?
Just mainly his general expectations.
Yeah, just expectations of Thor. I haven't seen it. He hasn't seen it. You haven't seen it. The previous guest, Chris, hasn't seen it either. So we're all, virgins in this. Yeah, we're all virgins in this area. But I kind of had a broader idea when I was thinking about this because I was listening to another podcast of mine, a music podcast, and they were referencing the Thor movie, and the guy kind of brought up that the MCU may be in a slump, and I thought that was interesting because like that for a casual viewer to say that, hey, is the MCU, to question if the MCU is in a slump after Doctor Strange, after No Way Home, and now for Thor, which the guy didn't like Thor, but that's interesting to me. Do you think that the MCU is in a slump phase now?
I wouldn't, technically speaking, kids movie.
Yeah, but I'm saying like we grew up with them. Like the first Avengers came out when I was like fucking 15. I think we were both 15 at that time. Like, that's what I mean. Like, do you think we could be aging out of it? You know what I mean? Like,
no, because I'm 11 years older than you.
Yeah.
And so Iron Man 1 for me, I was 11 years older than you.
Yeah.
I was already like a full grown adult pretty much.
Yeah.
Iron Man came out and it hit me, arguably, I imagine, the exact same way that it hit you.
Right.
It was just a really special moment in film.
It's just, that's one of those things to me, like, to even question that kind of hurts my feelings a little bit, to be honest, because it's like, I fucking loved the entire MCU, and I even love the new Strange, but a lot of people have been kind of, even Dwight, you've been kind of like I don't want to say, like, it's not like a hater, but just like, I don't like that. Like, I'm not a fan of it, because I rated a 9. I think Dwight rates it 7.
Yeah. I think
and you just seen it.
What do you rate? What was that?
I rated 9.
7.
Yeah, but what did you rate it? Like, what? I don't know what film we're talking about. Currently.
Oh, Strange.
Strange, yeah.
Yeah, the new one.
Okay. So, yeah. So, I got a lot of thoughts about Strange.
Really? What do you rate it first? Let's open up with that.
That's tough. I'd probably give it somewhere kind of in between you both.
Okay.
Give it like an 8.5.
Okay.
Maybe 8.5. But the reason being is like, so I love the Marvel formula so far. I get that it's generic. I get that it's the same old, but like it works for me.
Yeah.
As a 37-year-old, I can shut off my brain. I can be 12 again, and I can just soak it in.
Right.
Doctor Strange, for the most part, when it felt formulaic, it was fine. It is what it is. I was enjoying it. But then the director, as you guys know, is Sam Raimi. And when I saw him in it, is when I was like, oh, this movie's boring. Like this. Like,
wait, did you say soaring?
Soaring. Like just cruising along. Like it is crushing it. When I could see Raimi's vision.
See, no. See, now that's funny because and if you haven't, please go back and watch. We have a Doctor Strange episode,
Okay.
And when we're talking about it, I think I think we were talking when we were going back and forth about it. I think that was one of Dwight's issues with it. Yeah, like
because it made it so campy.
Yeah, of Sam Raimi.
So I can admit that Raimi is a acquired taste. more or less, but I think he has deserved his respect. Like he's done enough. Like this is the guy who gave us the first 3 Spider-Man. Like we don't have Doctor Strange, we don't have the MCU without Spider-Man hitting the way it hits. Sam Raimi did that. Like, the guy who did that. And for me in Doctor Strange 2, that third act, pretty much from when they go to meet the evil Doctor Strange, pretty much from that moment on was just Raimi-centric.
Right.
The way he even played Zombie Strange, the way Cumberbatch played it was like an Evil Dead zombie. Like
See, I didn't. Yeah. I couldn't pick that up because I'm not like as into Strange. And also just a little background for audience. This is my movie guy. Like this is my, like this is the give me a fucking movie reference where it's like a, you know what I mean, like what is the Padawan versus the shit in Star Wars? You know what I'm talking about.
I'm the Jedi, you're the Padawan.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. That when it comes to movies. So I didn't notice Raimi in that. Like I wasn't looking at that. I was just kind of like, oh, this shit is all right. Like this shit is cool. You know what I mean? I didn't pick up any of the Raimi tricks every moment.
Which is totally fair. You guys are a bit younger. Like Raimi's a guy that should be on your guys' definite radar. I will say this: I'm not like a Raimi head. Like I'm not the guy who defends everything that he does. He is a pretty divisive director as far as he's got a very specific vision. And I think where his cheesiness for me, where it works, is it's so sincere.
Yeah.
Like, a good example is The Matrix. Like, they made a movie that was based off anime, kung fu films, 90s, 80s action films, but they did it with such a sincerity that even though if you look at it now, like with time passing, you're like, the whole trench coat thing, all that. Like,
it is cheesy, but I love that shit.
It's so sincere. Like, it's coming from such a real place. Like, when Raimi came up with the musical note fight.
The whip fight. In Strange.
Yeah. Even if it played cheesy to anyone, in his mind, to him, it was the coolest possible thing that could happen in this. And I think there's something special about that. Like, I don't think we get a lot of sincerity in current cinema. I think even Marvel films, and I am a Marvel head.
Yeah.
But to talk shit a little bit about Marvel is, even their sense of humor is, let's make fun of this type of sense of humor. Let's make fun of how crazy this film is. Let's make fun of us doing a weird thing before the audience can make fun of it, right?
Yeah.
But like, with Raimi, most of it, there were a couple scenes in there where I was like, this is like gross. Like, I didn't like how some of the jokes were, because like, Strange shouldn't be quippy. He's not Tony Stark. He used to chill on the quips.
Yeah, and I was kind of having a thing about that. Like, I was kind of looking back at it, and I was like, I don't know why he's being like overly sarcastic at times. Like,
I think the best, there's a perfect and there's an example of the best and the worst use of Doctor Strange conversationally in Doctor Strange 2. And it's the best is when he's in the diner with America Chavez and Wong. Mm-hmm. And she's doing the fast talking. He's reacting to her. That's perfect. Like, he's hilarious in that scene. But he's also not going for the joke. The worst example is when we meet the Illuminati and he's making bad breath jokes left and right. What's happening?
That felt too Tony Stark for you?
It was just really it felt weird. I didn't love that. I didn't need that sequence, if I'm being honest. Like,
I didn't need the entire Illuminati. I didn't need that in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, what's cool about that, though, Dwight, is that I think Raimi agrees with you. I think what you saw and what we all saw was the studio being like, we got to get people excited for these cameos. This is exciting, blah, blah. And Raimi was like, right, I don't want to do that. And like, you got to do it. He goes, cool. And now I'm going to kill them.
Just fucking murder them all.
It was just how he wrote it was just a lot of things of just how he wrote the narrative in the movie to where it sort of was counterproductive to it. And I get his formula of how he works movies, but it's sort of difficult when you approach a pre-existing franchise and try to put your touch in it. And it was just a lot of things that was off.
So it got chaotic for you. Got madness.
No, it didn't. As a matter of fact, that's the terrible part is that this is the one movie that should have been.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. We were discussing on our Strange episode, and we'll get back to Thor at some point. But our Strange episode, we were talking about like how we had wished to see the movie jump around a little bit more, like because it was a multiverse of madness, and we only saw like one or two multiverse worlds or some shit like that.
I don't fully disagree with that. I think it sounds like, if I'm being honest, and this is speculation, I'm not in the quote biz. I don't talk to these people.
What do you mean? You are in the biz, bro. You live in California. You're there.
I'm like biz adjacent.
Okay.
But it sounds like the problem, and they're the same problems I have. That's you have an auteur filmmaker. You've got a guy who has a specific style, and then you're asking him to be a part of a large machine. Like, I need instead of being a very specific guy. But like, I think,
so you think they put restraints on him?
I think he was willing to have them put on him because he wanted to work back in a big, because he's had an interesting career.
I don't know his entire lineup of movies, honestly.
Yeah, that's.
I just know Spider-Man.
So,
yeah. Fair enough.
So we can talk about his career for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But I think this was him kind of being like, I need to get myself back out there.
Yeah.
I haven't done a film in a minute. I've proven myself with big budget stuff. I can play with the big budget people. I can play with the producers. I can play with the team. But I think just who he is as a filmmaker, I think when we see the third act, and even that second set piece, so you've got that first opening set piece, which to me was just Marvel copy and paste. It was just a lot of lights, a lot of stuff happening. At America right away, just boom, we're absolutely in it. That was very Marvel. But that second fight with the big octopus thing, that was straight up Raimi clawing, like Zombie Strange at the end. He was clawing out of the grave to be like, no, I'm still Raimi. Watch, I got it.
That's cool. I would love to have a deeper relationship with the Raimi movies to appreciate that. Like, because I have that with different directors a little bit.
For sure. I think it's important when you approach a movie like I personally, I'm not saying everyone has to do this, but when I approach a movie, like, I take in a lot of stuff into account. Like, usually the first time I watch it, it's at face value, but if it's intriguing, like, I look into it, and I think Strange 2 is something that's really interesting because of who they put behind it. It's weird. It is weird as hell that they got Raimi to do it. Like, that's a weird...
Who was the original director? Do you remember?
Scott Derrickson, who directed the first one.
And that was going to push more like a horror.
He should have...
We needed.
Yeah, so he just came out with Black Phone.
Oh, I heard about that shit.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that one, Toy?
I heard of it.
Yeah, I want to watch it. It's a horror, apparently. It's really good.
I don't know enough about the director, so I don't want to put this out there that this is a thing. This is speculation or just kind of what I'm gathering. But he's been in an interview where he was like, "No, it's not that Marvel didn't like the script. I think there were things that didn't work, but it wasn't like it's too scary. You gotta go. It was more Scott Derrickson chose to walk away." Because he's had some personal stuff that as a filmmaker he's kind of been avoiding. And to my understanding, Black Phone is him getting that out there. It's getting his psychology out there, his trauma, his past trauma. This is his story. But to him, it was just, yes, it's crazy to walk away from Marvel, but this is important to me personally.
Well, let's switch gears. Let's switch gears really quick. So with No Way Home, seeing that, Strange seeing that, and Thor kind of having some mixed love in between it. you think that Marvel goes where from this? Because personally, I think that it is becoming more chaotic. I think the last good things we had were Shang-Chi and Loki and WandaVision. Strange, it was good to me. No Way Home was good to me, but I didn't feel the love, and I don't think, ironically, I'll feel the love out of Thor. I really don't think I'll feel it.
So fair. I do have a take on it.
And I hate that, bro. Like, I hate that shit. Like, and I think me and Twight have talked about it too. We were talking about kind of like where we stand with Marvel, because you weren't even willing to see Thor. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not like.
That's right.
I've never been like deeply ingrained in MCU. I'm like, okay, it's these characters I like, I'll go watch this movie and this movie, but I've never been like, because it's just.
How do you feel about Thor Ragnarok?
To me, that movie, that basically threw the hook and threw a lot of company in there just to make a Thor movie bearable. Like, if it was...
I like Ragnarok. Did you like it?
It was... Nah, I didn't really like it.
Oh, okay.
Like, to give you an idea, the director that made Thor Love and Thunder said in an article that in order to make this a good Thor movie, he had to make a movie that Thor fans wouldn't like. And I
think I did read that shit, but I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that meant.
Reese, you actually brought that up to me. I delved into that because I thought that was interesting. What he said was, he actually went and explained what he meant by that. He did say, I don't think a lot of Thor fans might like where this is going. But then he explained, this is Thor in love. To me, he's more speculating on what fans want. I'm okay with Thor being. I have no problem with that. Like,
I don't know how I feel about it. That
curveball he's throwing at me, that's a pill I can swallow. I'll say this. For whatever phase this is now, right? Like, again, for me, Iron Man through Endgame.
Fucking
I'm not gonna say
masterpiece.
It's all perfect.
It's not all perfect.
As a whole, as a one entire entity.
It's a masterpiece. Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Exactly. It is a masterpiece. If nothing else, it is a masterpiece of just business.
Did you wait? No. You just see Twight. You didn't see that. He held off a little bit. He's like, oh, wait a minute.
Let's get into it.
Let's just agree to disagree.
on it being a masterpiece?
Yeah.
Are you talking like movies wise or as complete?
I'm gonna be honest. If you look at it from a business standpoint, I think
I can agree on a business standpoint. A business standpoint, I can agree with.
Yeah, because that shit gross like billions.
Okay,
at this
point. Definitely.
But okay, are we talking in terms of storytelling, kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, storytelling. Right. Like it's when we talk about a coherent story, it's a lot of things, and that comes with the responsibility of always having to keep a story going. Where there was a lot of things that added in that movie that they didn't expand upon, so they can see. So they can say, hey, in Endgame.
Oh, okay.
Where they can say, hey, we're gonna expand on this later in the universe, and then it was just some aspect of characters that they just destroyed, and they just.
I didn't like the Hulk. I didn't like
the Hulk.
Him and I get in arguments often about how they treated Hulk and that.
The Thor, I can deal with the Hulk, but I didn't give Thor any type of redemption from what he did in Endgame, from what happened from Infinity War. Like, he never mentally recovered from that, and that would have been. That's literally what the character needed.
Ultimately more interesting because they gave us a broken character of these people who are gods and monsters. They gave us a broken human character.
I don't mind him being broken, but what my issue is like they never had him like at all any interaction with Thanos where it was in relation to how he missed his head, how like he's gonna try to redeem, like just no internal character dialogue or anything where like it shows or like that this is my second chance. I see. And it just never was a thing.
That's right. So for me personally, that his story wrapped for me pretty much when he got his hammer back with his mom. Like
yeah. You're talking about that scene. I think he's talking about that scene.
Yeah. So he spent the whole movie not being worthy in his brain.
Right.
He's let his planet die. He's let his friends, family die, and then he's shown through a chat with his mom, which is very emotional for him, that he is worthy, and he proves it by holding out. Mjolnir comes back,
Yeah.
He's worthy. Like, that's his arc. That was his arc. Like,
you may not be in love with it. I think
I can appreciate Thor not getting his one-on-one Thanos badass moment of like, watch,
because that's what I wanted for Hulk.
Or just even just internal dialogue or just him like acknowledging like, you know, like I would have settled for like where like
I think that's what the mom thing was.
Okay, like Thanos is right here.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna let that mistake happen again. You know, I'm
okay.
You know,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
didn't he have that? I don't know the exact line, but wasn't there that line where he's the first one waiting for Thanos and Cap and Iron Man come up to him?
Well, he was just like he's just sitting there. That's what.
Oh yeah, like he was fun. Oh yeah.
Yo, he's not afraid.
Yeah.
True.
Worthy now.
See, but I guess you know. In thinking of, because I think a lot of people didn't really know what to think of when they wanted Thor, Love and Thunder. But I guess the proper evolution of somebody healing, essentially, if you feel that they healed, right, the proper evolution of that is, all right, I'm in love now. You know, I'm finding love. You know, I'm branching off, I guess.
My main thing with it was I don't have an issue with him being in love. It's just like over like watching Thor over the course of like his 4 movies and his cameos that they like the MCU doesn't quite know what they want to do with the character, and there's always been apparent with like
I think the actor Chris Hemsworth himself is like started to add his own little whatevers into it. You know what I mean?
I would argue. Yeah, I actually do agree with that, but I think they did figure him out after. I think Thor Ragnarok is the MCU saying we know how to use Thor. Now we understand it.
Because that did well. I think that was like it did really well in the box office.
I think if you guys Googled it or did a stat check or Anchor or even a Twitter poll, I think you would find Thor Ragnarok is ranked at probably top 5 MCU.
I don't know. That's a bold statement there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that.
I'm not saying necessarily from me
I know, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
I'm saying if you check the list, if you check admittedly, I listen to a ton of podcasts, and Ragnarok is one of those ones that sticks out for people. Like it's kind of a special one in a way because it was like they don't have to be cookie cutter.
Yeah,
I can give you something different. My concern for Love and Thunder is now Taika has yet to let me down. I have no reason to believe he's going to let me down here.
I think he directed a show that Dwight likes. What's that show with the
What We Do in Shadows.
No, I don't know if it's What We Do in Shadows. What was that show that you were watching?
Reservation Dogs.
Reservation
I
Dogs.
watched that. Yeah.
That he did. Same director, Thor: Love and Thunder, did that, and Ragnarok director.
He has a smaller hand in that. I think he's working with an actual Native American because it is a very
he would definitely.
Yeah.
But he's a native New Zealander. He's, I believe the term is Maori.
Yeah. Did you finish that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure.
I've heard it's great. I've heard it's great. So I don't have a reason to believe he's gonna let me down. My concern is from the trailers, which I'm excited about. Here's the thing: I don't keep current with the Thor comics. I don't know much about Thor the God Butcher, but I Googled.
Yeah.
I definitely checked them out as I do with this stuff. The movie inherently has to be darker.
Yeah.
I think Ragnarok even comes close to.
Which I'm fine with. You know I love that shit.
Like, this is a dude who straight up, it is in the title, he murks God.
Yeah.
And the trailer looks real fun. And there's a couple black and white scenes, which I'm assuming is probably the climax.
Yeah.
But my concern is, actually, you know what, as I'm saying this, I don't know if I do have that concern, because Jojo Rabbit, did you guys see that one?
No, I haven't, but I want to. It's on my list. Don't spoil it.
So I won't spoil it, but he does a phenomenal job at balancing really big laughs with the fucking Holocaust. Like he's
all right. I'm not mad at that. Like if you could do that, then fuck.
As an imaginary threat.
Yeah.
To the main kid character.
Imagine pitching that to Hollywood.
Played by Taika.
Yeah.
It's a delight. But I'll tell you right now, they don't shy away from the real. So
I'm gonna watch Jojo Rabbit. I'm definitely gonna watch Jojo Rabbit.
In the balance, because to what I understand of the character and what I understand of the trailer, there's a balance that needs to get met somewhere.
Yeah.
And I hope he does it. Again, though, like...
How do you think Bale does?
What's that? Bale?
How do you think Bale?
What kind of question?
I knew you were going to respond like that. I knew you were going to be like, come on, dude.
I can't speak to the dude as a dude. I think he's got maybe some temperament issues.
Maybe.
But
who doesn't, right?
I think he's one of the actors that you just know is a sure bet. I think sometimes he can chew scenery a little bit and go a little over the top for us, but
I hated him as Batman. Hated him. I won't say hated him as Batman, but I was not a fan.
No, I would argue you liked him as Batman. You didn't like his Batman voice.
I didn't like his Batman voice, and I always liked his villains just a bit more.
Movie. I didn't like the third. I didn't like Batman.
But his villains were always cooler than him. That was my problem with Bale in his movies.
Batman problem in general, isn't it?
The plot was just all over the place in his movies, honestly. My biggest thing was just the plot in the third one. The third one was like fucking awful.
Just Bane.
Oh, I agree with you, Dwight. Fully. Like, I think the first one was like, okay, all right, this might be something to watch. The second one...
Oh, my fucking God. Yeah. Like...
Do this. And the third one, well...
How do you live up to the second one, though? If you're making a third, how do you live up to that?
There's a reason that happened. That's more studio involvement. That's that.
And the death of Heath Ledger.
Yeah, that was riding on Heath Ledger, the character.
Yeah, like, he died. I think that would play an important role.
Help, because he probably would have used Joker the third, but he didn't have a real story for the third. He had a very specific story for the first two.
Yeah.
He kind of was okay with wrapping it up after two. The studio was like, we got to have more. And he was like, all right, I'll do this, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't think his heart's in that third one like it is the first two.
Okay, I can believe that. Given how it was received, I think I can.
It's definitely apparent. That's all I can say. It's like apparent as hell.
I think it's got some cool stuff in it for sure. If I'm being honest, I love all the weird scarecrow courtroom stuff.
I don't mind that. It's just like plot hole stuff that's like obvious gaps where like, hey, the city's on lockdown. I have a dislocated back and I have no funds, but somehow I got back into the country, snuck back into a lockdown city. Or hey, I'm Batman and like the whole city's on lockdown. People are like dying.
You're tearing apart the story.
Third one wanted you to rely on some comic book logic that the first two kind of shut down. Where they're like, no, we can make this real. We can make this like gritty. And the third one was like, we are a comic book after all.
Fucking throw it in there.
You are. This works, but the first two are really pretty.
It sounds like one of those things, on cartoons when like a cartoon character would just like pull a bazooka out of his back out of nowhere, like that type of shit. Like imagine that happened on a live action movie.
They were literally just writing the hype of the movie because like the part like it's the fun epic conclusion. Like this man put gasoline all the way across a frozen river up a bridge to make the bat signal, and people are dying. Gave away the element of surprise because they thought he was dead.
Well, that's movie magic, man. Stop tearing apart.
Well, I think though that's my biggest disconnect maybe with you guys a little bit. Is so for me, like Doctor Strange 2, even Batman 3, right? So what is that? Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're bad movies from very good directors. And to me, that goes a very long way. Like, you take Spielberg's worst film, you still got a fucking pretty goddamn good movie.
That's a good point.
It's still a solid movie.
That's a fair point.
That's how I felt a little bit about Dark Knight Rises, where as I'm watching, I'm like, this isn't up to par with the first two. But we're watching a guy who's a proven badass filmmaker. Like, he's going to give you some shit. And, like, I've gotten to the point with the MCU specifically that the continuity is so tough now. They've got TV shows.
Yeah.
Like, at the beginning of all this, we had to wait 6 months per movie?
Yeah, something like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, now, Miss Marvel, which I love, by the way, I think it's great.
Haven't seen it.
Aired the next week after Moon Knight finale.
What? For real? It was that quick?
So,
I don't like that.
A week went by. Miss Marvel hit. Miss Marvel was out for maybe an episode. Doctor Strange came. And it's like, okay, you guys are giving us a lot of material here.
Yeah, it's at that. Yeah.
I will also say about that though is that they had a lot of movies and content on hold when the pandemic hit. So then a lot of that stuff sort of just like piled together.
Yeah, and now you're saying like that they have to release it, but they have more.
And then they still have to maintain the momentum to it's always.
And that's also been a proven problem in the order of the releases, right?
Oh yeah, that's a great point because Reese and I were talking not too long ago. We were talking about how we think that I was talking to him about how we were talking about it should be ordered, like how we were saying that No Way Home should have came after Strange. I think that's what we were saying.
It's supposed to. And
yeah.
In the film, there's a character plot that happens. It doesn't make sense. So Ned becomes magic, right? It comes out of nowhere. His grandma's magical somehow, so he's magic. He can use the sling ring to open up a portal, right?
Yeah.
Didn't make sense. Was out of left field. That's because Doctor Strange had it come out first. That was America Chavez with them.
Oh, so
who opened the portal.
So it made more sense. See, that's what I'm saying, bro.
Script. And then the whole WandaVision, that whole show was about her arc of coming to terms with these kids' loss. Then we hit Doctor Strange 2, and the whole arc is, I haven't dealt with these kids' loss. Well, no, that means WandaVision needs to be after you. That's why we went through a whole storyline that doesn't need to have happened.
That really begs the question of, I think it could be whereas like I'm kind of losing the momentum. I'm a part of the train, but I'm not just like at the first on the first seat or anything anymore. Like
I never been.
Yeah.
So I'm still on the train. I watch them differently.
Yeah, same. That's a good way to put it. That's a great way to put it.
Iron Man through Endgame is, I do think, I'm not saying it was perfect, but I'm saying the continuity.
I get fucking goosebumps watching Iron Man. The continuity is pretty solid.
As far as keeping everything together and make it make sense. But at this point, I guess now I just don't need to think about that stuff.
That's true.
To be honest, like, I watched Doctor Strange 2, and I didn't really start critiquing it until my second watch. Because I had a blast.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fun. Now, to me, I think in order for me to keep watching the MCU, that's just how I watch them.
It's not serious for you anymore, yeah.
I will say this, not to just throw shade for the sake of throwing shade, but I feel like I got to stand up for Marvel a little bit. Marvel's been crushing it for so long that they're now just starting to lag, and DC hasn't even got to where they can crush it like Marvel has yet.
That's true.
Well, see, in general, I will say the thing with Marvel is that since no one else is doing it, that people have just been sort of like taking anything. Like Marvel's at the point where they can literally put out a fucking pile of shit with a fucking superhero mask, and it would at least get some type of 6 or 7, and people are still just okay, and just pass.
I think it's two type of ways to look at that. That's either indicative of how fucking stellar they've been, or it's something else. But I think it's not. I think it's how stellar they've been. Yeah.
I think because you say that twice, but I would argue they haven't had a piece of shit yet. They've had movies that aren't nearly as good.
Captain Marvel.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say Marvel.
Honestly, I would argue Doctor Strange is probably close to a piece of
shit.
The
second one?
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Shit. That's insane.
Thor 2?
A lot of people didn't like Thor 2. Wasn't a fan of Thor 2, I don't think. I think I'm only the fan of Thor 2, pretty much.
It's in the bottom 3, probably.
But I liked it. I really did. I was watching it the other day.
Yeah, fucking Black Widow?
But
Black Widow's alright.
Black Widow, to be honest, I think the only problem Black Widow had was when it came out.
When it came out was a big issue.
Not Taskmaster himself and how he was a fucking machine.
I didn't like that. I didn't like certain elements of it, but I never really loved all elements of it.
How attached are you to some of these characters that you have a problem with? Like, are you reading a lot of comic books with Taskmaster in it?
Fuck no.
I'm pretty attached to the character Taskmaster. it's certain characters that when they introduce them, you're like, okay, they don't have enough heroes to really make this XY character work, and you already know that it's not gonna be like.
You're saying it's not fleshed out enough for you to introduce this character.
Yeah. That's sort of how I felt when they did Civil War. I was like, bro, y'all got 6 people, y'all can maybe have like a basketball game on like like half court. Like, come on.
That's a fair Civil War complaint, but so I've read the comic. I think the comic's great. And I think for them, at the time, keep in mind, they didn't own Fox. They didn't.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just like
hundreds of characters.
Right.
I thought they did a pretty exceptional job with Civil War. I think a lot of filmmaking is problem solving. And sometimes when I can see that happen in a film, that goes a long way for me.
I usually attribute it to like iteration. Yeah, like I usually attribute it to like, this is my iteration. Like, sure, this isn't comic, but this is my iteration of what this movie.
Well, the thing is, like, if they were to put those things, like, because like they can't come out with another Taskmaster, they can't come out with another Civil War right now. Like,
they came out with another Mandarin.
I'm just saying, like, I would have rather for them to put it on hold and like create take another plot that can work to the story just as well. And
doesn't it kind of suck now that it doesn't it kind of suck that now that they've got like the rights to Fox and shit, now we have to question if the MCU's tanking a little bit. Not tanking like for real, but
you can't have Captain America and Logan together.
Let's say from now on, every Marvel movie that comes out is trash, right? I don't think it will be. I think they've got too many smart people behind them at this point.
Right.
Let's say they're all trash. What year did Iron Man come out? I don't have that off the top of my head.
2008, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've had since 2008, pretty much, when did Endgame come out? 2019? 2019.
1919.
So we've had 2008, 2019 and I know you're not on this camp quite, but like, Reese, for me and you, some better than others, but they haven't had a straight mix. And even like, I know Captain Marvel is my favorite. We talked about this. Pretty sure that movie's not. You're not the target audience.
Yeah. I'm not the person for that.
I can tell you, when I saw that in theaters, I just got the news I was having a daughter, like the day of.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. I remember that.
I've watched it since. I'm very aware of its flaws. The first third is pretty trash. I think it doesn't really start taking off till she meets Sam Jackson. But like, that movie wasn't for us necessarily.
Yeah.
That's for the girl in the aisle who her dad drugged her to it. She didn't want to go, and now she's like, oh my gosh.
That's crazy, yo. I guess the MCU isn't tanking. It's we're getting different elements that aren't for us anymore.
I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't say that in every aspect, because it's some areas just in general story wise where it's just not coherent, or they're not like.
Wait,
I think that's where they're losing the thread. But can you speak to that? Can you give me, just out of curiosity, can you give me examples between Iron Man and Endgame of that? Like, because to me, I think the story.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay, where's the continuity issue?
Okay, so you introduce this big plot element that Star-Lord has some celestial or cosmic, type of deity. They don't bring that up at all. It doesn't play any role in the Infinity Stones, Endgame. Right. It's just like the second one could have not happened. Like, literally.
That differently.
Yeah. Okay.
How'd you read it?
For me, him being able to hold that Infinity Stone in Guardians 1 for as long as he did by himself before everyone else helped him, that to me that's his celestial blood. And then I thought, I could be wrong, it's been a minute since I've seen it. Maybe the reason they don't bring it up again is didn't when he killed Ego, which by the way, can we talk about Kurt fucking Russell?
Fucking love Kurt Russell. Come on, man. Do you expect anything less? Come on.
Just a big-headed, beautiful, long.
Yeah, love Kurt Russell, man.
Once he died, I thought it was even said that his powers were gone with him.
Even like with his, from what I understood, like the blood was still there. Like that aspect of him was still there. He just wasn't. Like, because when he was gonna merge with the planet, like it was gonna give him like an amazing like actual like powers. He's not gonna get it. Like he doesn't have that path line to go down anymore, but it's still like prison in him, and it's like, yeah, I just introduced that. It's like to me, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was like an episode rather than like an actual movie, because it was just more, hey, we're together now, we're close as a family. Like it like none of the things that happened in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 really felt like it played a role in
the rest
War.
of the okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything for that.
I guess my only defense of that is, for me, Ragnarok and the two Guardians films kind of specifically feel the closest of all of the MCU that are kind of doing their own thing. And
Okay.
I felt that for Guardians 2, they may not have spoke to it as the universe, but they wrapped up some pretty large character threads from the first Guardians, thus the whole Mary Poppins or I'm your daddy thread, right?
Yeah.
The whole Yondu father thread was, I thought, a massive story arc. Like just a big circle getting closed.
Yeah.
James Gunn has already made it very apparent. No, he's dead. Like,
yeah, I know, right? Not even pulling him back.
Do bad.
And it's that's kind of funny because James Gunn fucking murders every movie that he's doing pretty much as of late. Like
Face there.
But hey, we are at 50 something minutes, so we'll wrap it up soon. Before we get out of here, because at some point I have to eat. Do you have any recommendations or anything, like movies wise?
Yeah. Okay. So for you guys specifically, let me recommend 3 Raimi movies for you.
Please.
That I think can help with Doctor Strange 2.
That's an important thing.
It's gonna be blasphemous to any Raimi fan listening that I skipped the first 2, but watch Army of Darkness, which is the 3rd film of the Evil Dead.
I've seen it. My brother, yeah.
Okay.
Army of Darkness?
Yeah.
All right.
His brother's a huge movie nut, by the way. His brother, aspiring director.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Simple Plan, which is him trying to do a grown-up movie, so he's not doing all his usual camera tricks and stuff like that. And the 3rd one would be a movie called Drag Me to Hell.
I've seen that one as well.
Seen Drag Me to Hell?
Yeah.
I'm not watching that shit.
Oh yeah, this is Mr. I'm scared of horror movies.
Yeah, I don't like horror movies. I'm not a fan.
This is an easy pill to swallow for you, Reese. I promise.
All you gotta do is just literally not piss off an old bitch. Like not
literally, they even stereotype gypsies for it. Unless you run into a stereotypical gypsy woman.
like yeah, you
Okay, fair enough. I'll check it out.
And I do want to recommend a book, if I could.
A book?
Yep, it's called Blood, Sweat, and Chrome.
Hey.
It's an oral history of Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay. Have you ever seen Mad Max? I love Mad Max.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's a pretty okay movie.
Tom Hardy?
Yeah, it's okay.
No, I loved it, bro.
It's okay. It's just
Twice. Now after Raimi, you're going after George Miller?
I didn't say it was bad. It was just like the movie's an 8. It's just like, all right, we drive all the way over here just to realize we got to go back all the way over here. It was just.
Did you not see the effects in that?
Again, it's like an 8. It's an 8 for me, but it's just like again, let's drive all the way over here. Oh, let's go all the way back again.
I think if. I think if we lay on this, I think we'll be recording for another hour and a half.
I was just gonna.
It's a solid 8. It's a solid 8.
It's a 10 for me.
I got so many thoughts.
I love Inception. I love Inception though.
Inception is great. I love Inception.
Inception is great. I agree.
Yeah, but I think Mad Max was a 10 for me.
But if we could here, I feel like I could pull apart Inception a little bit too.
All right, yeah. And this has been the Geek Goonz podcast. Dwight, do you want to help us out with the outro here, brother? You can end with whatever.
This is the Geek Goonz podcast, and this episode we had Reese and Reese.
Christopher. Well, yeah, Reese and Reese. Young Reese, old Reese. And you can give an outro too, Reese. You can actually say something here.
All right. Well, fellas. I appreciate you having me on. I like getting out my thoughts on shit.
You didn't nearly get out as many thoughts about movies as you would have, as your mind can hold.
Yeah, you're right. Well, dude, I had planned on getting on with 10 minutes and we hit 50. Imagine if I planned for 50.
That's true. Good point. Great fucking point. All right, man. I'll talk to you later, bro.
All right.
All right, fellas.